Hi, my name is Grace Shalom Hopkins and welcome to another episode of Spin Weekly. Today we are stepping out of our usual fluffy sphere and into hand sewing. Now, a lot of you know that I hand sew if you follow me on Instagram, but I haven't really done a video on the subject, so I thought I would do a roundup of the last 3 pieces that I've made. Because Tour de Fleece is coming and I'm about to drop a huge collection of videos in collaboration with Amara Moon Fiber Arts, which I have links down below to pre-order the colorway. It's not really a pre-order now, just to order the colorway, to that and also her shop. So if you've been kind of vacillating, you really should get on that, broski. You get one of my recipe cards of your choice with the order, so it's a super good deal. But regardless of whether or not you've snagged some of that fiber, coming up soon is going to be this big Tour de Fleece 2019 bonanza. And so I wanted to kind of do something different before and also do something different kind of after. I haven't decided what I'm doing after. I think I might do maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say it because I might not do that thing. And then people might be like, you said you were going to do this one thing. It'll be a surprise. I'm noodling possibilities here. So anyhow, this is a chatty vlog style video of my hand sewing adventures. Now, this isn't super cinematic, but I have a recommendation for a knitting person who does super cinematic videos. Mandarines, I believe is how you pronounce it. I could be butchering it. But I've left links to her channel down below, and she creates beautiful, beautiful videos. So I aspire to emulate her style in my future hand stitching videos, but I did not in this video. So anyhow, I used 3 patterns. The first 2 were winter inspired items. So I used the Ebony dress pattern by Closet Case Files and the Nettie bodysuit pattern by Closet Case Files. And I made both of them out of the wool jersey from We Are the Fabric store in, I believe, New Zealand. And it's super soft, really lovely, and it, despite not having the appropriate amount of stretch for the bodysuit, I felt like it wasn't problematic at all. Now, if you have maybe very large bust or a large bum or even a big difference between your proportions, like maybe large bust, tiny waist, or tiny bust, large booty, whatever. If there's stretch that needs to happen, maybe it wouldn't be so successful, but I'm pretty consistent all the way down. So I didn't need that much stretch. Yeah. So I weigh 85 pounds and my bust measurement is 31. So just before you take my advice here, I think if you were a bust measurement of like 457, as long as you were only a few inches in between, it would work. So that's what I'm trying to say here. That being said, you do have to obviously be mindful of the direction of your stretch. Like I cut the sleeves with the stretch going up and down instead of sideways, and I couldn't get them on, like not at all. So that's something that I was really aware of. The sleeves ran really small on this because of the fabric I used. So I did have to go up a size in sleeves, and next time I would go up 2 sizes in the sleeves and the arm cycle only. The rest of it fit really well, but the sleeves and the arm cycle I would go up. And then I felt like the bum was a little bit less coverage than I prefer, but I wear boys boxer briefs. So when I do this again, I'm going to see if I can find maybe a Scrundlewear scrundies. I'll leave links down below to that. The boxer brief style, and take the booty part of that and attach it to the 2 sizes up arm cycle sleeves situation there. So those are the hacks that I would do in the future. Also, I really am thinking of doing a swimming suit out of this pattern with, again, the boy short undies, because I wear a rash guard and some Target children's pants, and I'd like more full coverage, but not like floaty, flirty coverage. I just want like a wetsuit that covers my whole bum, which is hard to find, right? Anyhow, so that's what I did there, and I will insert some footage and some pictures here so you can see how it looks, and then we'll talk about the next few things. And when I'm done talking about the different patterns, I'll talk a little bit about my construction style. So the second piece I did was an ebony top, and I also made it out of that wool fabric that I was talking about before from We Are at the Fabric Store, which I feel, by the way, is the most economical place to purchase wool and linen fabric. By far, they're the best that I've found, even with the overseas shipping. So if you're in New Zealand or even Australia, definitely a good option. But anyhow, so I pretty much followed the pattern here to the T. I did the floaty top thing. I might lengthen it a little bit more in the future, but I don't think so. Otherwise, the fit, the construction, it went really well. I was able to swap it out for my hand stitching style construction without any problems. I do think the neckline is a little bit wider when I do the bound hand sewn version, so keep that in mind if you do that as well. But otherwise, really excellent. I love the drape, I love the comfort, I love the arm cycle. So I was a little worried about the arm cycle because of the bodysuit, but that's just because the bodysuit was designed for a 4-way stretch. So I might even put gussets in the armpit of the bodysuit. I don't know, because it really does kind of impair my movement. And if I'm going to wear it, I'm going to want to be able to move, you know what I mean? Especially in the wintertime. And I actually pair, I'm jumping all over the place. I pair the bodysuit and this top with a pair of my wool. I think they're the Wool People, I believe is the brand. I got it from the Sierra Trading Post, which is a good place to find sort of discounted outdoorsy stuff. I will leave links that down below too. But they're wool tights. So I pair the wool tights with the wool bodysuit and the wool top, and that provides a lot of warmth. And this winter, I'd like to sew a pair of wool trousers, or maybe a wool dress to kind of complete my ensemble. And then maybe in the far future, I will sew myself a winter coat. Far future. Anyhow, so I really liked that, and I'll insert some footage here of the top. Okay, and then the final piece is a summer item, and I used some cotton jersey that I got from Joann's, and I felt like it was a little thin. I'm perpetually frustrated with the thinness of jersey that I find at fabric stores. I want drapey and fluid and natural fabric content, natural fibers, whatever. Words are hard. But I find that they're really, really see-through and don't have a lot of body. But then the only other option is like synthetic scuba, which isn't what I want either. So that's frustrating. If you have a recommendation for good, solid jersey that hopefully is slightly affordable, go ahead and leave it in the links down below. That being said, the way that I went about this is I knew that it was a little see-through, and I don't wear bras. Bras are lame as far as I'm concerned for a variety of physical and social and personal reasons. But I also don't want to like put anybody's eyeball out, right? Because I'm breastfeeding and also perpetually cold, and maybe that's TMI, but this is a serious consideration for those who do not wear padded bras. So anyhow, I went to line it, and when I lined it, I just cut 2 of the bodice pieces, so it's full length, right? But then I measured down to my natural waist, like at my belly button, and cut 2 of those as if they were bodice pieces. And then I just sewed the top part and the sides, trapping that lining in there. Well, what I didn't anticipate is it looked way better inside out. Like, way better. It's got this super cute double layered floaty sort of thing going on, and I was like, dang, good mistake. So that's how we got the double layer. I don't claim to have predetermined that goodness, and that's how I constructed it. Super simple. As far as the pattern goes, I use my absolute favorite knitwear pattern jumping board, the t-shirt tutorial from It's Always Autumn. And then I've also included a link to the relaxed maxi dress tutorial, which is a lot closer to the process that I followed. But once you understand how to pattern make, it's really straightforward, these relaxed jersey things. It's Always Autumn has a huge archive of like 20 plus tutorials on how to hack that original t-shirt pattern, so strongly recommend following her. Yeah, absolutely. I refer to her method almost every time I sit down and make something jersey without a pattern. And then I just went ahead and sewed it up using all of my regular construction. The neckline ended up really being too long. I cut off of a Gap t-shirt dress. That's the pattern that I used. And because, as I mentioned before, when you do the bound edges by hand, it tends to sag a little bit more, but I still want to retain that stretch because of like breastfeeding and stuff. So I use a herringbone stitch, which is a stretchy stitch. I could use a straight stitch if you're never going to really stretch your neckline, but I think that's just asking for popped stitches in my opinion. So anyhow, I did raise up the sleeves about a 1/2 inch on either side, so inch total on both sleeves. And then even then it still slipped off because I have a kind of frame that things really like to slip off. As noted, I'm really small. I don't have a large bust. My shoulders are quite narrow and a bit slopey. I have a touch of scoliosis. All of these factors make my sleeves want to fall off. Now, if you're wearing a bra, you can actually just create like a little hook and eye situation to hook it to your bra and problem solve. But I don't wear bras, so I can't really hook and eye it to my body parts, and double-sided tape is an abomination. So what I did was I created a tie in the back, and that solved my problems. It's a really delicate and easy way to solve something that you can't really fix with pattern cutting. There are certain ways you can reduce sleeve slippage, like raising it up or tightening it or shrinking the neckline, but at some point your silhouette is going to only allow you to go so far without really modifying the look of the outfit or the functionality. So a tie in the back for all my shoulder slip and peeps is a cool way to fix that without altering the actual garment itself, really. You're just affixing an extra element. So that's cool, and that's what I did. And so now I'm gonna show you some footage of that, and then I'll talk about my construction method. Okay, so I follow the Alabama Channon guide. That's the first time I really saw hand stitching, which is my first love. I enjoy doing it in the same way that I enjoy spinning yarn. I just think it's a very meditative, pure, historically connective technique. I like the strength that it gives me. I like how I have a lot of control over each and every detail. The only con is it can be a little time consuming, but honestly, I get enthusiastic with a machine and zoom away, and I find that the pieces that I construct are not as pretty. They pucker more. They're more likely to be zigzaggy seams. And it doesn't go as fast because I end up having to rip out. I really prefer hand sewing, and I think that time-wise it's really comparable. And structure and strength-wise, absolutely it's superior for me. And I've been sewing since I was like 5. So I really do prefer hand sewing over machine. That being said, Alabama Shannon has a book, The Geomatry of Hand Sewing, which I think is absolutely the most important garment construction hand sewing dictionary available. I don't carry knit stitch dictionaries, but hand sewing dictionary is really important to me. And they're categorized in such a way you can select the correct thing for the different construction piece you're doing. So like binding, you're going to want stretchy stitches like the herringbone stitch or the daisy chain stitch, the zigzag daisy chain, or like a rosebud stitch or a cross stitch, things like that. And if you're doing a straight seam like embellishments or construction seams, you're going to want something that doesn't stretch, like a back stitch or running stitch. So all that to be said, if you're considering really diving into hand sewing, I really recommend the Geomatry of Hand Sewing. You can get it digital, but if you get it physical, you actually get the templates. So you can take a fabric pencil and stencil it onto your garment, which only works if you do lighter colors or if you have a light colored fabric marker, I guess. And I haven't done that yet, but it is really helpful when you're learning new stitches. So when I was learning the rosebud stitch, I didn't pencil it onto my garment, I did it on some practice fabric, and I was able to do several inches and then kind of get the vibe of the thing. So recommend that. Links down below. I'm not affiliated. I just think it's the best resource. They also are a really good place to kind of peruse and see what stitches go where, like I just said, or you can just listen to what I just said. It's that straightforward. And how they work with the fabric and all of that sort of thing. They're really the only people who are doing widespread hand stitching, so recommend them. But yeah, so I did the herringbone stitch on the dress and then a regular straight stitch, like a running stitch, on all of the construction seams, and then I go over the top and I top stitch it. And then I trim down the seams. So I often will make my dresses with the seams exposed, similar to Alabama Shannon, but I am beginning to do more hidden seams, like a more traditional right sides together kind of thing, which is what I did with my dress. And I love the combination of the exposed binding with the hidden seams. So I think I'll experiment with more of that in the future. Yes, I think that is all. I am gonna throw in a bonus picture of the Beans Christmas dress. It's also the wool jersey from We Are the Fabric store. And I used a rosebud stitch through all of the exposed pieces, and then a running stitch for the construction. So there you go. I don't know if that was super interesting, but that is a look at my hand sewing at the moment. If you're interested in seeing more vlog style like the cinematic, as I was talking about at the beginning, comment down below with what kind of garments you'd like to see me create. If you're interested, basically any thoughts around hand stitching that you want me to create content on, go ahead and leave a comment so I can tell what to make. So as per usual, I would like to thank our Patreon people who make these videos possible. Thank you so much for being part of the Patreon family. If you're interested in being part of the Patreon family, having exclusive Q&A access, getting 2 recipe cards per month, or just seeing the exclusive music video or voiceover video of most of my videos, that's a lot of video in one sentence, you can check out the link down below. I'd also like to give a big shout out to the people who have purchased Spinolution spinning wheels through me. I am a dealer and I am pleased to offer Spinolution wheels. They are my favorite and I have tried many. And then those of you who have